What was your is this bitch serious moment? I worked at arcade/bowling alley combo that served food like a full restaurant. My position had me deliver the food and take the dirty dishes to the back. So, there's a group of like 6 people bowling, and they ordered our sampler platter that had a little of everything from the appetizers menu. I bring this platter out and set it down asking if there was anything else they needed. Without really looking, this woman says we are good. I begin to turn around, and this woman grabs my arm and yanks me towards her like I was her kid and says, "Where the fuck are my chicken wings?" In disbelief of what was happening, I paused looking at her, then the platter, eventually saying, "They're right there ma'am, in this little basket on the platter." She lets go and with a skeptical expression says, "HMM, okay," as if she really didn't believe the wings were there. If I didn't hate working there and my shift was any farther from being over in 10 minutes, I would have spoken to a manager, but I didn't care enough to stay to get it sorted and just wanted to leave. Man, I swear, working in the food industry is a whole shit. Generally, most people are normal, but you get to see the crazes. I used to work at Subway in my teens, and a man reached over the glass to get in my face and yell at me for putting mayo on the wrong side of the bread. I one time had a customer smugly tell me it's a frappe, not a milkshake, and laugh softly, giving a look of "Can you believe this guy?" to the people he was with. When I tried to clarify, he just cut me off and put his card in. When he was charged for the clearly separately labeled menu item called a frappe, as well as being given a frappe, he was pissed and demanded to know what we had charged him for. I've never seen a grown man act that much like a child, and thank fuck he never came back, at least not while I was working. I also work at a hotel desk with a janky card swiped. I've had guests claim I'm making a copy of their room key to sneak in later. I've had guests lose their mind when they found out a security deposit hold goes on their card. I've had guests absolutely baffled that they need to put a card on the room at all. I've had guests come down at 3 in the morning to yell at me because our town, smallish college town in Kansas, doesn't have a nightlife scene in the wee hours of a Wednesday morning. Who've had guests claim I'm mamming a copy of their room key to sneak in later. If they had an ounce of smarts, they'd know that's what the master key is for. Exactly. Do they think housekeeping asks nicely to be let into rooms? People are nuts. I worked in a restaurant about a decade ago that had a lovely patio. Middle-aged man orders lunch, no problems. He pays with a credit card. I place the little payment booklet thing, I have no idea what the proper name is, on the table, and as he opens the booklet, the wind blows his receipt out of the booklet. He immediately starts freaking out because all of his credit card information is on there. So I explained that no, only the last 4 digits are on there. He demands to speak to the manager, which that was still me. I just also waited on tables, and it ended with him screaming that I'm stealing his identity, that he would be calling the cops, and that he knew the owner. Spoiler alert, none of those things happened. Shrugged it off and went back to work. Ah, yes, you and your powers to control the weather are going to somehow steal that man's identity using only the last 4 digits of one credit card. What the hell were you doing waiting tables with that kind of power? You could be ruling the world. A woman claimed to have left her money at home while I was working one day after she ordered 2 sandwiches. They take about 10 minutes to cook. I said that's okay, when you come back they will be ready. She said she wanted the sandwiches first and that she'd be right back after she and her daughter ate because they live right around the corner. I said if you live right around the corner you'll be back before the sandwiches are done, but I can't give you food before you pay. She lost her shit on me. It was wild. She left with no food and didn't come back. Edited changed preferred to ordered asterisk. Had a customer try that line on us once. My boss at the time didn't skip a beat and said, "Nice try, but this ain't Popey." The guy pulled out a huge pimp roll of cash and paid. "We're in automotive, not food BTW. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today." When I walked into the apartment I shared with a friend, and it was covered in vomit because her dog ate a pillow and had puked it up. 2 days earlier, the living room was covered in dog puke, and she had just sat there in the middle of it. She thought it was funny. I called a moving company on the spot and arranged for the first appointment they had and put my stuff in storage while I found a new place. That was my last roommate. Roommates are mostly shit. There are the rare gems. I have had good roommates almost always. But when looking for roommates I never looked for fun or cool people. Those people are great in short dosage. One cannot successfully live with them. Look for stable people with stable jobs and stable personalities. They might appear boring on the surface. Used to work at Disney World. It's 9 AM and a lady comes into our guest services demanding a refund on her turkey leg because it tastes weird. We ask her details to process the refund. Turns out she bought it 3 days ago and was carrying it in her bag since. Have a magical day. Is that the closest a Disney employee is allowed to get to saying go fuck yourself? I've been informed by many friends who've worked at Disney and they all agree that if a cast member says have a magical day they are definitely telling you to duck off. I thought they said have a great day, not magical day to duck you off. Oh shit, I think you're right. I just remember it was absolutely passive aggressive and I was paying close attention to see if any cast members said it to me, so I knew if I should apologize or not. I've been going to my local high school's running track to jog and exercise since lockdown. Well, to park your car you have to go through a driveway that's designated with arrows as one way. There's an exit on the other side of the parking lot. Anyway, the soccer moms in town are notorious for parking their cars in this driveway and making it hard to get into the actual parking lot. As I pull into the driveway, one of these women thinks that it's a brilliant idea to put her car into reverse as I'm entering. I couldn't swerve out of the way because there was an self parked right at the mouth of the entrance taking up half the available space. So I reacted and honked my horn. She proceeded to panic, throw the car into drive and run it into a small boulder that lines this driveway. It ripped the passenger side air deflector clean off. According to her, I'm now a fucking asshole that honks her horn for no reason. Jeebus Lorenzo, if you panic at a car horn, what the fuck are you doing driving? Beats me, but they do. My favorite is the time when I honked at a woman and she took her hands off the wheel and flapped her hands like a chicken. Shit you not. It was one of the funniest things I ever saw. I work at a call center for insurance. So many people should not be handed a license to be in control of a 3,000-pound missile moving at 55 miles per hour. A couple sat down at the movie theater 15 minutes into the movie. The lady sits right beside me and is holding a full conversation at full volume with the man barely acknowledging her. I politely ask her to lower her voice as it is distracting. She stares forward for 2 minutes before leaning over. Maybe if you weren't listening to my conversation, you wouldn't be distracted. I was too livid to even respond and the movie was ruined. Edit. The movie was Wonder Woman. I have definitely gotten employees for jerks at the movies, but I felt like I might punch this lady if I looked her direction. Either way, she did lower her voice after that. If you ever have another such encounter, ushers are your friends. They can throw out people who are being disruptive. Edits. I use the word ushers to get the point across, but really I just mean any available theater employee. Yes, I understand that most movies don't have official ushers anymore, lol. To those who have worked in movie theaters, I'm so glad to know how many of you enjoy kicking out jerks. Makes me glad I got up the courage to make the few complaints that I have regarding annoying moviegoers. I really wanted to, but honestly I was seeing red. I couldn't even move, and I don't get angry very easily either. Understandable. I've done the same thing many times, just sitting there, seething. The first time I actually went to complain about a group of people like that, my heart was racing from a combination of anger at them for being so rude and anxiety. What if I'm making too big of a deal out of this? What if the employees just roll their eyes and do nothing? The group actually left on their own before the ushers showed up. I suspect they were film hopping, but I was still glad I said something. There was a girl in my class who was such an idiot, and she would outwardly disrespect the professor all the time. This one time, while the professor was talking, she started to whistle. He stopped class in disbelief and asked her why she was doing it and why she was being disruptive, and she said it's a thing she does without even thinking, and then whistled again and was like, see, I honestly don't get the mentality of people who misbehave in a university classroom. You're paying for the privilege to be there and get a degree. I hope the professor threw her out of the class. When I was a professor, I had someone leave a midterm to go fuck their girlfriend. He raised his hand about 2 minutes into the exam, said he needed to let his GF into his dorm room, Could he leave? It was a series of essays, not a lot you could blatantly cheat on. So I told him, you are an adult, you can do whatever you want, but you only have 75 minutes to take this exam, so use your time wisely. Guy left. Comes back 5 minutes before the end of class. High fives a friend. Scribbles something. Hands it in. He failed it. I mean, he didn't answer most of the questions. When I handed it back he was shocked. He interrupted my lecture to argue with me, telling me I said he could leave. Yeah, you can leave, but that doesn't mean you automatically pass a test. Then he cried. Like loud, head on the table sobs. He dropped my class and called me a C***NT. I don't like people. How that's great. How the fuck did he translate yay? Sure, you can leave, but it's probably dumb into yay sure, you're free from all consequences of your bad decisions. Clearly he was not college material, yet still managed to get in, despite the fact. That's what we in higher ed like to call this kid got coddled through high school by parents that probably bullied teachers into giving him better grades, inadvertently setting their child up for failure at a stage where it's harder to recover from. My sister's mother-in-law opened up all her wedding gifts and packed them away while she was on honeymoon. It's been 3 years since, but I'm still mad thinking about it. What was her excuse? Did she think that the gifts might rot or expire? LMAO. She said they would be exhausted after their trip, and so she wanted to help them settle in their new apartment by unpacking. To this day, my sister has stuff that she has no idea who it's from, and could never personally thank anyone. That's the point, where you write some kind of passive-aggressive letter to each person, like, "Dear friend, I was going to appropriately thank you for the undoubtedly wonderful gift you gave me, but due to a very unfortunate accident, some greedy grubber opened them all up for us, and we are not sure what you gave us. Nonetheless, we appreciate it. Controlling mother-in-laws are a nightmare that is way more common than they should. I had an ex that worked weddings. She had so many horror stories of Mill just straight up ruining ceremonies because they wanted the wedding to be their way or just did stupid shit for attention. This is why we didn't allow my mom to pay for anything in our wedding. She's super overbearing and kept trying to give terrible hokey suggestions. I feel so bad for people who don't have positive support from their mills. Mine was more involved in wedding planning than my own family because she was so loving and helpful. She heard I was planning on doing a cheap bouquet and took me to a nice flower shop to see if I might be interested in getting something different, saying she would pay for everything. We picked out flowers and greenery together, and it turned out exactly how I would have wanted it. She questioned some things, but never in a bad way, just a "have you thought about this?" kind of way. Still one of the highlights of my wedding, and definitely made the photos that much better. Edit. Since this comment is catching attention, I wanted to add that my in-laws have been a true blessing in my life. They taught me what it means to love unconditionally, and they have always been a greater support for me than my own family. Unfortunately, I understand that means that on the flip side of things my husband gets the crazy in-laws, but he's a dear and handles them well. My brother was always a jerk and a bully, but my brother-in-law is sweet and kind and honestly amazing. Not all in-laws are awful. My mill unfortunately passed away about 6 months before I married my wife, and of course my wife was heartbroken. My mom really stepped up and said she would host our rehearsal dinner, and she paid for all the flowers as well. Someone asked if I could break a $100 bill in pennies. I just looked at her, looked around to make sure I was definitely not currently working in a bank. It was a bakery, and said sorry. That person would be lucky to get that at a financial institution too. Some places charge for change. Some restrict on what you can get. Pennies come in boxes of $25. I've turned people away because we didn't have enough boxes to last us, or they just don't have it. Is that the type of thing you could call ahead for? Like, if I called in advance and set it up. Depends on the institution. My last job, we would order 2 boxes of $half every week for a customer. But he was like clockwork and would always pick them up. My current job, we just don't have the room for extra coin. We only order what we need.